Okay, it is day 739 off the grid, and I have been busy in here, and you're looking at this bank here of 4 100 amp hour gel cell batteries. This is the last time you're going to see these batteries in this configuration sitting here. They've been here for a number of years. They were some of the earliest batteries I got, not the earliest, but fairly early on when I was starting to get my shit together to go off grid. I bought 2 of these, and then I bought another 2 off a guy down near Te Tahi Bay. His name was Guest, actually. Now they've been pretty good, but I've decided that this is the bank which I'm going to change out for those new Crown batteries I've got. Well, they're not brand new, but new to me. They are 6 years old, but they appear to be in very good condition. So I had a couple of ideas of what I was going to do with them. One of my ideas was to take the 2 100 amp hour AGMs from the B shed, take them over here and add them to the fridge bank, remove these 2 at the back, slip them in there, and then use the new Crowns to replace them over there. Now that could have been good, but I might have had to start mucking around with the charge controllers over in the B shed, because those BP ones seem to be quite suited to AGM, and they don't really seem to get high enough to guarantee the health of flooded batteries. And that system over there is working pretty well. It just needs a bit more solar charging, which I'm going to sort out. So I thought, no, I'll leave that alone. And I've been really wanting to rip these apart and do something with them. Terminals are extremely corroded. I've been meaning to get onto it and clean them up, but I haven't had a chance, or I just haven't got round to it. So now I better take this whole bank apart, remove these batteries, replace them with the new batteries, and get the night battery circuit operational again, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow. And then I'll better go through these, because I suspect there might be 2 stronger ones and 2 weaker ones, and possibly the best 2, or possibly all of them, we'll have to see. They'll probably some way or rather end up on the fridge circuit. So by buying these new batteries, I will be essentially upgrading my night battery circuit and upgrading the 24 volt circuit here in Shed A. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That's what I'm going to do. But in order to get around to being able to get at these, of course I had to finally get around to mounting up my battery balancer and get it away from sitting on top of these batteries, so I could get in there and take them apart. So here's this, and that's what I've spent most of today doing so far. It's mounted on the wall here underneath this control panel. I've soldered permanent wires onto the tag strip there, so the brown one and the blue one connect to the poles of this battery. Well, actually I was a bit naughty, I did it over this side because there's no room on there, but that's a dog bone, so there's not going to be much voltage difference. In fact, what difference there might be could well work to my advantage potentially. But nevertheless, there we go. That's connected. In doing so, I had to clean up this terminal, and I had to apply some, sodium bicarbonate mixed up with water, clean off all the corrosion and stuff. And so when I finally put it back together, I've used some petroleum jelly there, some real cheap stuff. I think there it is there, that I bought yesterday at the $2 shop in the Upper Hutt Mall anyway, but that's beside the point, who cares. But it's on there, it's gooey shit, and that's probably why I haven't got around to doing it on other terminals yet. It's yucky really to use, but let's see if it actually helps. I made a wee plug switch there, just a spade female and male, so if I ever want to disconnect the control voltage I can just pull that out. And the yellow wire is what connects to the balancing point, which ironically replaced a yellow clip lead. How colour coordinated. The red wire is the main feed, and that's all been tidied up, and that comes from up here. Rather than using that big battery separation diode unit, I've just used a simple 10 amp silicon diode rectifier diode there, which is fine. I mean, there's already a lot of volts being dropped across the bulb, so I don't really need a Schottky barrier diode there at that point. So this is on the load side of the main circuit breaker here, so when I turn off the charging to that bank, it'll also turn off the balancing circuit, which is nice. But then of course it goes into its own circuit breaker in case I want to turn off the balancing by itself. This is rated at 16 amps, that's total overkill. This would never blow because the bulb would blow first, because the maximum you can put through a bulb like that is about 5 amps. And of course, for safety, this is a resistor, so it limits the current anyway, so the bulb's the real fuse there. That's more or less just a switch. Oh, and by the way, that is the very circuit breaker I used for that video where I had it across the car battery. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the circuit breaker and I can still use it. Remember, it was a little bit high Z, so in this situation that doesn't matter. Good use for it. And here's my bulb still. I am going to try and come up with a slightly better way of powering this, but for now the bulb is still the easiest way of doing it, so that's how I'm doing it. And hanging up here is really nice because it shines down onto the batteries. I mean, that's essentially free light in a sense, because the light has to happen because the bulb's dropping current. See, I'll turn out the main lights. Shining right down there into those caps, which is going to be really nice for determining water levels, although the big light of course helps really well, but more light is always useful. So yeah, that's basically it. So I've done so far, and the next video I show will be with these batteries removed and probably with the other batteries in place, but not necessarily connected. We'll see. Okay, and here are the new batteries. I've just had them out here topping them off. It's good having these little chargers. They put out 3 amps, which is quite decent. I'm just topping them off before I put them in the system, so they're topped up as much as they can be. They may not be perfectly topped off, I'm just doing it within the time I've got before I put them in, which is not far away. Here's the old 100 amp hour gel cells. The hell do you know they're really gel cells? There's nowhere on it that actually says they are. That's what I was told, and so I believe them to be. They look like gel cells, but then they could be AGMs just as easily, who knows, but there we are. Now this yucky looking stuff is baking soda that I've been soaking these leads and stuff in. Here's something interesting. There's been quite a bit of corrosion, but a good quality lug like that one there, you know, just needs a bit of wire brushing and be, well, not quite as good as new, but good enough. It's a cheap shitty one like you might get with a hi-fi install kit. Look at that. That one there is not so bad. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's starting to rust a bit, which obviously means there's steel involved in this. That one just about gone on one side, no meat left. Yeah, pays to use good lugs. And here we are in the power room with the empty cavity swept out, all ready to install the new batteries into this space. All the wires are there ready to connect. Let's go through the wires, shall we? Why not? This one here is the sense voltage for the voltage sensitive relay, which mainly handles most of the current for the bulk charging phase. These two here, positive and negative, essentially go to the Xantrex C12, which handles the finishing charge. The red one, which is a bit of an extender, which I'm going to tidy up, and another one that suffered a bit of corrosion there, that goes to the Xantrex inverter up here, and this is the negative return, and this green one here is the common negative of the system. So all of those have to be connected to the battery for this setup to work, which is not a hell of a lot. I mean, there's only really 2 more wires than what most people would have anyway. So there we go. I should have actually measured the voltage on these batteries before I rolled film, because I'm really interested to see what they're sitting at now that they've been disconnected, to see if there is a weak one. It might not show up for another 24 hours, but that's what I'm going to be looking at. That's why it's been really good to get these out for now. Well, I thought I might as well mention about this. I've just done a voltage check on these batteries, and that's told me almost nothing at all. This one's just a bit over 13.0, as is this one. This one's down a bit. Oh, 12.995. Not much difference really, and this one again is sitting at 13.0 something. So, not much of a clue there as to whether any of these batteries are dicey, just from that voltage check. I'll check again in the morning, and then of course I do have some other tools at my disposal. I can do a load test with the bulb if I want to wait around for a few hours. I've got nothing better to do, or I could use the new handy dandy battery analyzer that Baffy got me, which I did use earlier on the golf cart batteries while I had them disconnected while I was putting in that balancer circuit. And that was interesting. It told me that the internal resistance of the good pair were 4 point... Well, let's go and see. Yeah, why not? Yeah, the good crowns there, the internal resistance was about 4.4 milliohms, whereas the bad ones over this side was more like about 7.9, and that sort of makes sense really of the way they're sharing current. Not that the ratio of internal resistance equals the ratio of current share, but it sort of gives you a clue. Interesting. But I guess now is for me to just throw these new batteries in now and see if they are any good. And finally the batteries are in full. That was a mission. I'm bushed. One thing that I totally forgot about these Crown sort of 130, 115 amp hour size batteries that came back to bite me on the bum is that the positive stud is significantly bigger than the negative stud. So it meant I had to get out the reamer and make some of those terminals on those eyelets a bit bigger in the hole there. I'd had enough of the reamer, so that when it came to the sense wire, which is that yellow one, that's a new sense wire, I took the opportunity to make a nice long one that'll run around the back instead of over these batteries here. I just couldn't be bothered reaming out another eyelet, I'll tell you. Reamer! Yeah, that's a Gene Simmons song. Reamer! Yeah, look, actually got the voltmeter turned on tonight. I don't often use this voltmeter, you hardly ever see it going. That's because you turn it on with a switch and after a while it will automatically turn off, because it's designed to use in a car stereo system, and I guess if it stayed on it would drain the battery, so it automatically powers down. So I put the switch there so I can turn it on when I want to see it, or refresh it if I want. But there we go. The batteries are in, they're fully charged. I've just got to do a test now to see that the night batteries come on as they should, and I'm done. I'm fucking done. That was quite a mission. I've still got these sitting out here too. They'll stay out there tonight. The bolts will stay soaking in that horrible soup. And that's basically it there for day 739 off the grid. I'll let you know how well these go.